March 18, 1944, over northern France. The cold bites through wool and leather as Staff Sergeant Jack Miller, waist gunner aboard a B-17G Flying Fortress, stares into a sky the color of dull steel. Flak has been light so far. That alone feels wrong. Jack grips his .50 caliber, knuckles white inside heated gloves. The bomber formation stretches to the horizon, silver aircraft in tight boxes, engines droning like a single mechanical heartbeat. Below them, cloud gaps reveal frozen fields and thin roads crawling with German traffic. Stay tight, the intercom crackles. The pilot's voice is calm, almost bored. Too calm. Jack scans left. Another B-17 drifts closer than it should, its prop wash rattling Jack's turret. The formation has tightened to avoid flak bursts blooming ahead like black flowers. One mistake here doesn't mean damage. It means death. The sky erupts. A sudden jolt throws Jack sideways as the fortress lurches. Metal screams. The aircraft shudders like it's been punched by a giant fist. Jack's helmet slams against the gun mount. Collision! Collision! Someone yells. Through the open waist window, Jack sees it, the unthinkable. Another B-17 has clipped them. The other plane's wing scrapes across their fuselage. Aluminum tearing, rivets ripping loose. For a frozen second, both bombers are locked together in the air. Wings grinding, engines roaring inches apart. Jack locks eyes with the gunner in the other plane. The man's mouth is open in a silent scream. Gravity should take them both. It doesn't. Somehow, impossibly, the planes shear apart without exploding. Jack's fortress drops hard, nose dipping. Loose ammo boxes slam across the floor. Oxygen hoses whip like snakes. Red warning lights flash. Controls sluggish. The pilot shouts, "We're losing altitude." Jack looks out again. The other B-17 is falling away, trailing smoke but still flying. Not dead. Not yet. Flak bursts closer now. German gunners have seen the wounded bomber peel from formation. The pilot makes the call no one wants to hear. "We're not making England. Heading east. Prepare to bail if I say so." East means enemy territory. Minutes later, a fighter tears past the cockpit, then another. Messerschmitt Bf-109s, circling like wolves. Jack fires short bursts, more to keep them honest than to hit anything. A shell explodes near the nose. The fortress shudders again, worse this time. Smoke pours from an engine. "Bail out! Bail out!" Jack doesn't hesitate. He clips on his chute, steps into the rushing wind, and jumps. The world spins. Silence replaces engines. Then the parachute snaps open, yanking him upright. Below, a POW camp comes into view, barbed wire, watchtowers, and rows of prisoners working in the open yard. Women. German women in gray-blue uniforms freeze and look up as Jack drifts down out of the sky. An American airman descending alive from what should have been certain death. Jack's boots sink into mud as rifles snap into his face. The German women are young and old, some barely out of school, others lined by years of war. Their uniforms are worn auxiliary issue. Luftwaffe blue-gray, dulled by labor and cold. None of them expected this. Neither did Jack. "Han Hock," a woman shouts. Her accent is sharp, her rifle shaking. Jack raises his hands slowly. Training takes over. Slow moves. No heroics. His heart is still hammering from the fall, from the miracle of still being alive. He glances upward once more. His B-17 disappears behind low cloud, engines coughing but steady. Against all logic, it survives at least for now. A siren wails. Guards will be here soon. The women exchange looks, confusion, fear. Something else Jack doesn't expect, disbelief. One of them, older, with tired eyes and a Medic's armband, steps forward. She studies Jack's chute, his oxygen mask still hanging loose, the frost on his jacket. "You should be dead," she says in careful English. Jack swallows. "Yeah," he answers. "So I've heard." Boots crunch on gravel. Male guards arrive, rifles raised, authority restored. Jack is shoved forward, hands tied. As they march him toward the camp gate, he passes rows of work details, female POW auxiliaries repairing fencing, sorting scrap, hauling timber. Some stare opally. Others won't meet his eyes. Inside the wire, the camp smells of wet wood, coal smoke, and thin soup. The collision in the sky feels unreal now, like it happened to someone else. Jack is pushed into a small guard office. A map of France hangs crooked on the wall. Pins mark bomber crash sites. An officer enters. "Luftwaffe, not SS. That matters. A little." "You were in collision," the officer says flatly. "It's not a question." "Yes, sir." The officer removes his gloves. "Your aircraft did not explode." "No, sir." A pause. The officer's eyes narrow, not in anger, but calculation. That is unusual. Jack thinks of the other bomber, the gunner's screaming face, the wings scraping together. Unusual doesn't begin to cover it. Outside, the women are ordered back to work, but they don't forget. As Jack is led across the yard toward the POW barracks, he feels eyes following him, curious, unsettled. Rumors will spread fast in a place like this. An American falls from the sky alive. Two planes collide and don't die. It sounds like a lie, or a sign. In the barracks, Jack meets other airmen, British, American, one Canadian. They crowd him with questions in whispers. "You jumped from a mid-air collision?" one asks. Jack nods. "Yeah." They stare at him like he's already a ghost. That night, as the camp quiets, Jack lies on a thin bunk listening to wind rattle the barracks walls. Somewhere beyond the wire, engines echo faintly, bombers returning, fighters hunting. He closes his eyes, but sleep won't come, because across the camp, in a dimly lit infirmary, one of the women the media writes a letter she will never be allowed to send, describing. Morning comes gray and raw. Frost clings to the wire like white scars. Jack wakes to the sound of a whistle and the scrape of boots outside the barracks. Roll call. Every day begins the same way here. Count the living. Remind them where they are. He steps into the yard with the others, shoulders hunched inside his jacket. Across the wire, the women's compound is already active. Lines form. Tools are handed out. Jack spots the medic again. Her hair is pulled tight, her movements precise. She looks up just once. Their eyes meet. She doesn't smile. She just nods, small and careful, like acknowledging something dangerous. Guards move through the ranks. One stops in front of Jack, older, scarred cheek, eastern front eyes. He studies Jack longer than necessary. "You are the flyer from the collision," he says. "Yes." The guard leans closer. Luck like that does not last. Work detail follows. Jack and two other airmen are assigned to repair storm damage along the outer fence. Cold wire bites into his gloves as he works. Beyond the fence, the women haul timber under supervision. A gust of wind carries voices. Amerikaner. Two planes. Still flying. Impossible. The story is already mutating. A sudden shout. A woman stumbles, dropping a beam. A guard raises his rifle, furious. The medic moves fast to fast. She steps between them, hands up, speaking rapidly in German. Jack doesn't understand the words, but he understands the tone. Calm, firm, defiant. The guard hesitates, lowers the rifle. Jack feels a strange pull in his chest. In the air, he trusted machines and formation. Here, survival depends on people making small, dangerous choices. That afternoon, Jack is called to the infirmary. He expects interrogation. Instead, he's told to sit. The medic enters with the tray. Up close, she looks exhausted. A red cross patch is stitched onto her sleeve. "My name is Anna," she says quietly. "I am to check you for injuries." "I'm fine," Jack says. She meets his eyes. "You fell from the sky." "You are not fine." She examines bruises, listens to his chest. Her hands are steady, professional. When she's done, she pauses. "You know they talk about you," she says. "The women. They think your survival means something." Jack exhales slowly. "Means what?" Anna shakes her head. "Hope. Or trouble." A door creaks. A guard passes outside. Anna lowers her voice. "If they believe you are protected, the guards may decide you are dangerous." Jack thinks of the scarred guard's words. Luck does not last. That evening, as the sun bleeds out behind the wire, a distant rumble rolls across the camp. Engines. Heavy ones. Bombers. High and many. Everyone stops and looks up. Guards. Prisoners. Women alike. Contrails stitch the sky. Jack's heart lifts despite himself. Then the air raid siren begins to wail. Searchlights snap on. Anti-aircraft guns swing upward. The women are herded back toward their compound. Jack is shoved toward the barracks. As he's pushed inside, he hears Anna. The sirens drown out thought. A long, rising wail that seems to claw at the bones. Jack presses his back to the barracks wall as the first bombs fall miles away. Distant thunder rolling across the earth. Flak guns hammer the sky. The ground trembles with every burst. Dust sifts down from the rafters. Someone whispers a prayer. Jack counts the seconds between explosions, the way he was taught in training. The spacing tells him the bombers are high, heavy loads. A big target somewhere close. Then the sound changes. A ripping roar cuts low overhead to low. The barracks shakes violently. Men stumble. A bomb detonates outside the wire, close enough to blow the door inward. Smoke pours in. Shouts follow German. Panicked. Sharp. Rouse. Move. Jack is dragged into the open. The sky is chaos. Black flak balloons everywhere, tearing holes through the clouds. Searchlights stab upward, and there through a break in the smoke he sees them. B-17s. American. They fly straight and level. Bomb bay doors open, just like his crew had hours earlier. Jack's throat tightens. He recognizes the formation spacing. Same doctrine, same deadly precision. The camp lies just off the bombing line. Too close. A stick of bombs falls short. Explosions rip through the outer perimeter. Barbed wire vanishes in fire. A watchtower collapses. Guards dive for cover. Prisoners scatter. Across the yard, the women's compound takes a direct hit nearby. The shockwave throws bodies to the ground. Screams cut through the noise. Jack runs without thinking. A guard shouts. A rifle cracks. Dirt kicks up near Jack's feet, but the guard doesn't fire again. He's looking up, frozen by the bombers overhead. Jack reaches the women's compound as smoke rolls through broken fencing. Anna is on her knees, pulling another woman from debris. Blood streaks her sleeve. "Help me," she shouts. Jack grabs the fallen woman's shoulders. Together they drag her clear. Another explosion rocks the ground. Jack throws himself over them as shrapnel whistles past. For a moment, there is only noise and fire and the smell of cordite. Then the bombers are gone. The sky empties. The guns fall silent. What remains is wreckage. The camp is broken open, wire flattened, guards dead and wounded, prisoners staring in shock at sudden, terrifying freedom and the price paid for it. Anna looks at Jack, eyes wide. "You came back," she says, breathless. He shakes his head. "Never left." A whistle sounds. Surviving guards regroup, shouting orders. Rifles rise again. Freedom closes just as quickly as it appeared. Jack and Anna stand too close together for too long. A guard notices. He steps toward them, suspicion burning in his eyes. "What are you doing here?" he demands. Jack raises his hands. Anna speaks first, calm, controlled. He was helping the wounded. The guard hesitates. Around them, chaos still reigns. He lowers his rifle just barely. As Jack is pulled away, he catches Anna's gaze one last time. Night falls heavy and unnatural, thick with smoke and the smell of burned earth. Fires still flicker along the shattered fence line, throwing long shadows that twist across the camp like something alive. Jack sits on the ground with his hands bound again, wrists aching. Order has been restored barely. Extra guards arrive. Rifles are loaded. The momentary chaos has hardened into something colder and more dangerous. Across the yard, the women are lined up for inspection. Faces smudged with soot, uniforms torn. Anna stands among them, posture straight, jaw set. She does not look at Jack. That alone tells him everything has changed. A Luftwaffe officer walks the line, boots crunching slowly. "Any contact with prisoners during the raid?" he asks. Silence. The officer stops in front of Anna, studies the blood still dark on her sleeve. "You," he says. "Step forward." Jack's chest tightens. Anna steps out of line. "I treated wounded," she answers. "Men and women. That is my duty." The officer nods once. "And the American?" Anna doesn't hesitate. "He carried debris. He followed orders." A pause stretches. Too long. The officer glances toward Jack. "You are fortunate," he says coldly. "Many prisoners would have used this chaos differently." Jack meets his gaze, says nothing. Later, the prisoners are herded back into barracks. The women disappear behind their compound gates. Darkness swallows the space between them. Inside, the air is tense. Word spreads in whispers about the fence damage, the dead guards, the bomb line that almost erased the camp. "They'll move us," someone mutters, "or shoot us." Jack lies awake, replaying the raid in his mind. The bombers' silhouettes, the sickening realization that his own air force nearly killed him again, this time on the ground. A soft sound pulls him back. 3 quiet knocks. Not on the door, on the wall. Jack freezes. Another knock, slow, careful. He slides off the bunk and presses his ear to the wood. A whisper comes through the cracks. "American, it's Anna." His pulse spikes. "You shouldn't be here," he whispers back. "I know," she says. "Listen, the camp commander blames you. Not officially, but they think the raid followed you." Jack exhales slowly. "That's insane." She almost laughs. "This war is insane." She tells him the guards are nervous. That tomorrow, the prisoners closest to the breach, including Jack, will be moved inland, somewhere worse. There will be no medic there, she says. No witnesses. Jack understands what she's really saying. "Why tell me?" he asks. Silence. Then, "Because you should not have lived. Neither in the air, nor today." Jack closes his eyes. "I don't believe in signs." "You should," Anna whispers. "They do." Footsteps approach. Anna pulls away into the dark. Jack returns to his bunk, heart pounding. At dawn, engines rumble outside the camp. Trucks. The fence breach yawns open like a wound. Twisted wire lies half buried in ash. A watchtower leans at an angle, blackened and useless. Guards shout orders with a nervous edge Jack has never heard before. Trucks idle near the gate. Canvas covered. Army green dulled by mud. Transfers. Jack's name is called first. He steps forward, hands bound, stomach tight. Around him, other airmen are selected, those closest to the blast, those seen moving during the raid. The logic is simple: remove uncertainty. As Jack is marched toward the trucks, he scans the women's compound. The gates are open for morning roll call. Anna stands near the rear. For a moment, she looks ordinary again, just another uniform, another prisoner. Then her eyes meet his. She gives the smallest shake of her head. Not yet. Jack is shoved into the back of a truck. Wooden slats, straw on the floor. The canvas flaps close, plunging them into dim light and diesel fumes. The engine revs. The truck lurches forward. As the camp proceeds, Jack hears a shout from outside. A sharp argument in German. The truck slows, stops. Voices rise. A door slams. The canvas flap snaps open. A guard leans in, annoyed. Out, he barks. You. Medic check. Jack climbs down, confused. The guard grips his arm and pulls him toward the infirmary. Inside, the room smells of antiseptic and smoke. Anna stands by a table, hands gloved, face calm. A senior officer watches from the corner. He was near multiple explosions, Anna says evenly. He may have internal injuries. The officer studies Jack. How long? Minutes, Anna replies. Or hours, if untreated. The officer exhales, impatient. Do it quickly. The door closes. The officer's boots retreat. For the first time since the raid, they are alone. Anna moves fast. They are taking you to a transit camp near Kassel, she whispers. Gestapo control. Jack swallows. He knows what that means. I can delay this, she continues, but not stop it. She presses a small object into his hand. A bent piece of metal. A wing fragment, scorched and torn. From your aircraft, she says. They found it near the fence. Jack stares at it. Proof of the collision. Proof of survival. Tonight, Anna says, lowering her voice further, they will move you again. Smaller group. Fewer guards. Jack looks up. You're talking about escape. I am talking about choice, she answers. For both of us. Footsteps approach. Anna steps back, professional mask returning. She raises her voice. He is stable, but he should not be transported today. The door opens. The officer frowns. We will see. As Jack is dragged back toward the truck, the engine coughing impatiently, he curls his fingers around the jagged metal in his palm. Above the camp, clouds gather again, and for the second time in 2 days, Jack Miller feels fate tightening, waiting for him to move first. The truck does not leave the camp. That alone feels wrong. Jack sits on the wooden bench inside the canvas-covered bed, knees braced, listening to the engine idle and die. Outside, boots move back and forth. Voices argue in short, clip bursts. Orders are being reconsidered. That's worse than certainty. The bent shard of aluminum digs into Jack's palm. He keeps it hidden, fingers curled tight. A piece of wing. Proof that metal can bend without breaking. He doesn't know why Anna gave it to him, but he knows it matters. The canvas snaps open again. Out, a guard says. All of you. They're lined up near the damaged fence. Fewer men than before. Fewer guards. Two most pulled away to reinforce the perimeter. The air smells of rain now. A low sky presses down on the camp. A different officer steps forward. Younger. SS insignia at the collar. Jack feels the temperature drop. These men will be moved tonight, the officer says. By rail. Any attempt to escape will be met with immediate execution. Immediate. No paperwork. No delay. The prisoners are marched back to the barracks. No work detail. No movement. Waiting. Waiting is the hardest part. As dusk bleeds into night, the camp grows unnaturally quiet. Searchlights sweep the wire. Somewhere, a train whistle sounds long and distant. Jack sits on his bunk, back straight, mind racing. He maps the camp in his head. The breach near the old watchtower. The blind spot where rubble still hasn't been cleared. He saw it this morning. So did Anna. A soft scrape at the door. Not knocks this time. The door opens just enough to slip a hand through. A folded scrap of cloth drops to the floor. Jack doesn't move until the footsteps fade. He picks it up. Inside the cloth is a pencil stub and a few words, written small and tight. North Tower. After lights out. One chance. No signature. None needed. The lights snap off an hour later. Darkness floods the barracks. A guard's footsteps pass, then fade. Jack stands. Two other airmen rise with him. They don't ask questions. They saw the same thing he did during the raid. They know a transfer like this doesn't end well. They move when the searchlight sweeps away. Outside, the camp feels hollow. Wind moves through broken wire, making it whisper. The North Tower looms ahead, half destroyed, its shadow stretching long across the mud. A figure waits near the rubble. Anna. She wears a dark coat pulled over her uniform, red cross torn away. Her face is pale but steady. Now, she whispers, A flare suddenly ignites at the far end of the camp right, blinding. Guards shout. Searchlights swing hard in the opposite direction. Anna didn't just plan an escape. She created a distraction. Jack runs. As he reaches the breach, boots thunder behind them. A rifle cracks. A bullet snaps past Jack's ear. He dives through the broken wire and lands hard, rolling into darkness beyond the camp. Shouts explode behind him. Dogs bark. And somewhere ahead, beyond the trees, the sound of the train. The forest swallows Jack whole. Branches whip his face as he crashes through undergrowth. Lungs burning, boots slipping in wet leaves. Behind him, shouts fracture the night. German. Angry. Close. A dog howls. Jack forces himself to slow, just enough to think. Panic gets you killed. He angles downhill, away from the camp lights, toward darker ground where the trees grow tighter. The other two airmen, split off without a word trained. Instinct. Scatter. Survive. A rifle cracks. Bark explodes inches from Jack's head. He drops flat, mud cold against his cheek. The dog's barking grows louder, closer, then fades slightly as the handler shouts commands. Jack crawls. Inch by inch, he keeps his body low, breath shallow, counting heartbeats. Then he hears it. Metal on metal. A low rumble carried through the earth. The train? He reaches the tree line's edge and peers out. Below him, tracks cut through a shallow valley. A freight train crawls past, boxcars rattling, steam hissing. Guards ride the cars, silhouettes against lantern light. Jack's mind races. Trains mean movement. Movement means chaos. Chaos means cover. He sprints. A flare ignites behind him, turning the forest white. A guard shouts. Another rifle fires. Jack stumbles, recovers, runs harder. He slides down the embankment, boots skidding on gravel, and slams into the side of a moving boxcar. Pain flares through his shoulder. He grabs for a rung, misses, then catches it with numb fingers. The train drags him forward, grinding his boots against stone. He hauls himself up, muscle screaming, and rolls into the shadow between cars. The barking fades. Shouts fall behind. For the moment, he's gone. Jack lies there, chest heaving, the night wind tearing at his jacket. He presses the wing fragment into his palm until it hurts. Proof this isn't a dream. The train slows. Ahead, a signal changes. Brakes screech. The cars jerk. Jack's pulse spikes. Slowing means inspection. Slowing means lights. He looks for a place to drop, but then he sees movement on the next car. A guard climbing down, lantern swinging. Jack freezes. The lantern light sweeps closer, illuminating grime, steel, breath in the cold air. The guard hums softly to himself, rifle slung loose. Too relaxed. Jack has seconds. He drops silently to the far side of the embankment as the train grinds to a halt. He hits hard, rolls, and stays still. Heart pounding so loud he's sure it gives him away. Boots crunch above him. The lantern pauses. A shadow leans over the edge. Jack doesn't breathe. After a long moment, the guard curses and moves on. The train lurches forward again, pulling away into the night. Jack stays hidden until the sound fades. Only then does he crawl deeper into the brush into a darker, more dangerous freedom. Behind him, dogs pick up the trail again. Ahead, somewhere beyond the hills, the war waits. Then, steady drizzle that flattens scent and sound. Jack welcomes it like a prayer answered. He moves with the rain, downhill and away from the tracks. Every step deliberate despite the ache in his shoulder and the raw burn in his lungs. Dogs bark somewhere behind him farther now, confused. He reaches a shallow stream and steps straight into it, forcing himself upstream despite the cold biting through his boots. Water erases trails. He learned that in training. He stays in the stream until his legs tremble, then pulls himself onto the far bank and disappears into thick brush. Morning light creeps in gray and weak. Jack collapses beneath a fallen tree, mud streaked across his face, rain dripping through bare branches. He doesn't sleep. He listens. Every snapped twig feels like a gunshot. By mid-morning, the forest comes alive. Birds, distant farm noise, a cart on a road far away. Civilian sounds, dangerous ones. Hunger gnaws at him. Thirst worse. He moves again, keeping low, skirting open ground. A farmhouse appears through the trees. Smoke rises from the chimney. Jack freezes. A decision like this can't be undone. He edges closer. A woman steps outside, hanging laundry, older. No uniform, just a scarf and tired hands. Jack raises his empty palms slowly. "Please," he says in a hoarse whisper. "I'm hurt." She stiffens, studies him. The torn jacket, the American insignia half hidden under mud. For a long moment, she says nothing. Then she gestures sharply. Quickly, inside, the house smells of bread and wood smoke. She gives him water, a heel of bread. He eats like it might be the last thing he ever tastes. She cleans the cut on his shoulder without asking questions. When she's done, she looks him dead in the eye. They are searching, she says. You must go. Jack nods. Thank you. Before he leaves, she presses something into his hand. A civilian coat, brown, plain. He pulls it on and steps back into the rain. By afternoon, the countryside is crawling. Trucks on roads, soldiers moving field to field. The escape has spread. Jack skirts a village and nearly runs straight into a patrol. He drops flat behind a stone wall as boots pass within feet of his head. German voices joke, relaxed. Too relaxed. They don't think he's this far already. As dusk approaches, he reaches a ridge overlooking a rail junction, tracks converging, lights flickering on. A strategic place, and a deadly one. Jack knows he can't cross it. He turns instead toward a line of trees, then stops. A figure stands there, waiting. Not a soldier. A woman in a dark coat. Anna. For a heartbeat, neither of them moves. You're alive, she says. So are you, Jack answers. She steps closer. I was transferred with a work detail this morning. I slipped away when the rain came. Jack stares at her. You didn't have to. Yes, she says quietly. I did. Behind them, engines rumble. Searchlights begin to sweep the junction. They stand together in the fading light, to fugitives from opposite sides. The rail junction glows below them, alive with movement, locomotives breathing steam, guards pacing, searchlights cutting slow arcs through mist. It is the kind of place the war feeds on, loud, exposed, deadly. Jack and Anna move away from it, back into the trees, keeping distance between themselves and the noise. They don't touch, they don't need to. Every step is synchronized by instinct alone. They walk until their legs threaten to give out. In a hollow between two ridges, Anna stops. If we keep going together, she says, we slow each other. Jack knows she's right. He also knows what comes next. There's a resistance contact, she continues. A farm 3 kilometers east. I helped treat one of their men last winter. Jack studies her face in the dim light. Calm, resolved. The same look she had under falling bombs. And you? He asks. She hesitates for the first time. If I am caught alone, I can still claim confusion, fear, a medic lost in the chaos, a faint, humorless smile. With you, there are no stories left. Jack reaches into his pocket and takes out the bent shard of aluminum, the wing fragment. He presses it into her hand. This kept me alive, he says. Twice. Anna closes her fingers around it. Voices drift faintly through the trees, patrols fanning outward. Time is up. Jack turns away before doubt can settle in. He moves west, toward the low hills and the long, uncertain path to Allied lines. He doesn't look back. He doesn't have to. Dawn finds him crawling into a hedgerow as armored vehicles rumble past on the road below. He waits. Hours pass, then more. Just before noon, a sound rises overhead. Engines, not German. He looks up through the leaves. High above, contrails stitch the sky-tight formation, steady, unbroken. B-17s. American. They pass without incident. No flak, no collision. Just engines fading westward, intact. Jack exhales, a long breath he feels like he's been holding since the day before. 3 days later, he crosses into friendly territory with the help of men who never give their names. By the time Jack reaches an Allied field hospital, the war has already moved on without him. Weeks later, he learns the truth. The B-17 that collided with his survived. So did most of his crew. No one ever explains how. Years after the war, Jack keeps the memory sharp, the sound of tearing metal in the sky. The camp beneath the bombs. The medic who chose to act when silence was safer. History records the collision as an anomaly. A footnote. A near disaster. Jack knows better. Sometimes, in the middle of war, two wings can collide and refuse to break.